Good evening here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel. I almost said good morning. I have no idea why. I'm tired. I'm Joel McCall, and alongside me is Haley Williams. We're going to talk about the Central Riverhawks volleyball team, and their schedule is coming or is out, and they have a busy week coming up next week. So we have a lot to talk about because we're going to be covering a lot of next week too. First of all, Coach, though, thank you so much for being a part of our interview tonight. Do appreciate your time.
Yes, thanks for having me. Excited to be back for year 5.
Well, 11, thank you for saying that too, because I was wondering how many years you've been the head coach. 11 and 18, 3 and 9 last year at the MVC. Lost some graduates. The main ones were Ruby Gearhard and Alyssa Brixon, along with a couple of others. But those two obviously stick out because they were big hitters for you. You've had a big off season. I actually saw on Twitter, I think you are the one that posted that huge picture of the camps that, and all those people that were at camp. So, your off season looked like it was quite busy.
Yeah, summer league for our high schoolers started right away in June, and then we ran our camp in June, and we do that from first grade all the way up to high school. So it's busy days, 3 days. But we had a lot of players there excited for volleyball at all levels. So it was super fun, and rewarding. We had a couple summer tournaments too, in July, and then open gyms about twice a week, and players were showing up. So it was fun. I can't believe we're here in season. It flew by, but it's fun. It was really fun to see the girls grow from last season and especially over the summer.
Well, and I commend you and the rest of the volunteers that you probably have and some workers that are putting that on because if you know anything about how to grow a program, it starts at that third, fourth grade level, and moving up as we lost your video, but I'm sure it'll pop back up here in a second. But I mean, that really is how you're going to have to grow this program. In year 5, you've had some seniors leave this lead the program. You've seen graduates, but you've also had a lot of underclass girls that have performed these last 5 years, and I know you're still steadily seeing that.
Yeah, no, it's really fun to see, and especially as a middle school teacher too. I help a lot with our youth program, seeing those girls go from. I think now my seniors were seventh graders when I first started in the middle school. So just seeing them grow up and become great humans too, and just really grow has been awesome.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your staff. That's the first thing I want to know is who's on the staff for the Central Volleyball this year.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to say I got to keep everybody from last year. So Jen Shields is still my assistant, and then Maddie Koopman is running our JV team still, and then Carissa Simons our JV 2, and then Annabelle Zawistowski is our JV 3 coach. So I'm really grateful for those four. They've been a great group of ladies to coach with, and I'm excited to go 2 years in a row with the same crew. I've had Maddie, Chris, and Jen for longer than that, but it was really exciting to keep all five of us the same.
Well, and that's what Coach Olson mentioned last night in his interview about bringing his staff back and how important that is for, just the consistency of going year to year, as well as, again, establishing everything that you're trying to do as a head coach. Now they know exactly what they're looking for all the way through those levels that you're going to have. How you actually told me prior to us recording that the last 2 days have been quite stressful because you've had tryouts. So what are the numbers like from top to bottom? And then how was tryouts in these last two practices?
Yeah. So yeah, we've gone 2 days of tryouts these last 2 days because unfortunately we have to make cuts. So we had, I think, a little over 70 girls try out, and you could only legally suit 15 on a team. So we're a little bit less than that. So varsity, we're looking at about an 11 core group, and then we're floating a few players between varsity and JV. So that gets JV then with the floaters at around 14 too, and then we're at 14 our other two teams too. So we got a lot of players in. We're looking for a lot of growth from everybody. So we're excited to see what happens.
Well, and you talked to me about how it seems like there's a lot of openings too. I mean, because you're going to have a hard competition. You know that with these tryouts, now you haven't even had a real practice. So after, I believe you said tomorrow, you're going to be handing out the jerseys and starting to put a core together. But what are some of the things that you're looking for to make sure that someone can reach that varsity level?
Yeah, really like a lot of things we've been talking about this off season too is like what's going to set you above the person next to you, and that's really like your leadership skills on the court. What's your presence, that positive presence? Who's talking? Who's picking other people up? And who's really just consistently executing at a high level? So there's been this, especially this sophomore group, I've been really, really, really impressed with. They've grown a lot and they've put in a lot of work over the summer and off season too. So a lot of them are ready to go and gearing up. So I think we have our JV1 is majority sophomores. So which is exciting for our program too. Um, but yeah, just really just who's gonna put in that extra work to reach the next level and do it with a smile on their face and push themselves and their teammates and really just have fun.
Yeah, I mean that is super important too. And again, we're talking with Haley Williams, the head coach for Central Volleyball, and I have not talked to you about individuals, and you don't even know who I've written down, but I hope that they're back because I'm going to mention a few of them, and one of them obviously is the Swiss Army knife, Sierra Freed. I sure hope that she's putting on a volleyball uniform. She is fun to watch. She's electric on the court, and the smile's infectious.
Yeah, yeah, what a great kid too. Great leader. Her and Laurel Erickson both were our off-season captains this year, and just the time and energy and passion they put in for this program and for this game. It's just fun to watch. Yeah, so we're thinking maybe utilizing her a little different than this year than setting. We're gonna try it out. We have Ellie Gillitzer, which you've probably heard that name for basketball and stuff. She made varsity. Um, Hoping to train her as a setter along with Addie Sasman Nauman again. And maybe try and see her on the outside and seeing how that's going. And she's a phenomenal passer. She's got a great swing too. It'll be a different position for her in the front row, but she played all club season middle back. So that's an option we have with her. But also she's a phenomenal setter and we can also use her there. So that'll be one thing that we'll have to be figuring out this week and trying out. We scrimmage on Saturday too. So it'll be fun to try different lineups then.
Yeah, that'll certainly help out. And you mentioned Erickson. I mean, I think there's no secret how much I've enjoyed watching Laurel play and how much ground she can cover in that back row. It has to be a luxury to have her back for one more year.
Yeah, I think about just this senior group, and it's hard to think about next season of not having them because they've been such a core group for us these last few seasons. But again, just another phenomenal kid who is just gonna put her heart and soul into the everything she does on the court and off the court to get better and help her team get better. I'm excited to see what she can accomplish this year because I think it's going to be a really solid season for her as well.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of those sophomores that I got to see last year as a freshman. And then her mom gave me a nice shout out at ENT one day when I had to go into the doctor. So I kind of have to mention Ella Crawford. And so I wonder about her. I believe it was the question that I had even at the end of last year was, is this kid going to move? Because you certainly do have some outside hitters that left this program as graduates, obviously. So is there talk of Ella moving to the outside? Is she staying in the middle? What's the plan there?
Looking like she's gonna stay in the middle. She's did that all club season too. We're not very middle heavy right now. We'll probably talk about Aaliyah too, but it's looking like she's actually gonna be moving to the middle. So
Okay.
we have some movement. We lost I mean Alyssa for us was huge last year and Ruby played some middle for us too. So really two of those strong ones. And Aaliyah played middle all club season and she's excited to take on that new challenge too. So looking like those two right now as our middles. We have Sylvia Rao, who we brought up. She'll be a junior. She's going to split some time. She'll also be fighting for one of those middle positions as well. So I think we've got a lot of options and a lot of different things that could happen. But it's looking like Ella's going to probably stay in the middle for us.
Okay. At least you got options for that outside because I was worried about that, obviously, and seeing Gerhard graduate and then go off to play. So And then we got to talk a little bit about the rivalry. So you start the season once again against Onalaska. I believe last year was a five-setter to start the whole season. You go up to their place, which I know that they're been doing some renovations and stuff. Hopefully their gym's completely done by the time we get up there. We have been told that we were able to go up and stream it, which is fantastic. We thank them for doing that. And so, you got a big one right away, and that can be a good thing. That could be a really bad thing. So, what's your thoughts about taking on the Hilltoppers right away?
Yeah, they're always a great competition. It seems that first time we play them too is always tight. I think the past 2 seasons were 5 setters the first game we played them.
Yep.
I wish we had like a little bit more time to prepare because it's really going to be 4 practices before we play them. It's a week from today. But I'm excited. I think every team is going to look really different in our conference this year. A lot of teams graduated a lot of people. They graduated a lot of their strong right sides, their libero, some other key players for them. So they're going to look different, but seeing them at summer league and some summer tournaments, they're still going to be strong and a really tough competition to beat. I'm really hoping our defense can be solid and get good touches on their swing, slow them down so we can run our offense. But I always enjoy playing them. They're always a fun team. That atmosphere is tough to play in. Their
True.
gym gets loud. So it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good challenge to start us off this year and kind of set the bar.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would even venture to out of if this wasn't just Central YouTube channel, I'd probably talk to Coach Rhodey anyway because she's always got such high praise for me too. So I always appreciate that. Again, that's on Tuesday night. You mentioned about, other teams in the MVC are going to look different. One girl that I think everybody's happy has graduated is Izzy Jar. Thank goodness you don't have to see her anymore in the middle against Holman. But overall, the MVC is going to look a little bit different, I think, all the way across the board because there's a lot of teams that lost, but there's also a lot of teams on the rise.
Yeah, I mean, there's not in my 4 or 5, or that'll be my 5th season, but in my last 4 years, there's never been an easy conference win. Any team can win any night is what I truly believe. We have a tough conference. So yeah, I'll be interested. There's a lot of new coaches in this conference this
Yes.
year too. Jess and I, and then Nikki from Holman are kind of the only ones that are sticking around. So I think that'll be kind of fun to see the dynamics too of some new coaches. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see how it's gonna play out. I feel like I don't have a good grasp on how I think until we see these teams for the first time of what they're going to bring.
Well, they're all going to be in the same boat because you only get those four practices prior to
Yeah.
Tuesday, just the same way as everybody else. So, that kind of actually helps, a little bit because everybody's kind of working that rust off and trying to figure out rotations and stuff. So, even though it's an MVC match right away on that Tuesday night, at least both of you might be a little bit blind when you go in. And then you've got the 2 day tournament, which again, we've been told that we can go in and broadcast these at the Omni Center. So, I'm looking forward to this. It is this kind of a smaller school. You mentioned that too. And then when I saw the pool, it really is small schools that you're going to be facing. But there's some good competition there. And as you said, you can kind of battle your way all the way out. But you'll start that right away on Wednesday morning. So this is a tournament you've been into several times, though, right? Has this been
Yeah.
the whole
I believe
time?
this is our 3rd year there.
Okay.
This will be our 3rd time there. Yep.
What's the dynamic like at the Omni Center and playing over there, and then playing some of these schools that you quite frankly won't see again?
Yeah. I think it's a good stepping stone to start off at after our first conference match. It's a little tight quarters in there as you'll see too when you go. So it's always kind of working through not having as much room to serve right away, but the girls should be fine because we play summer league there all year or all summer. But yeah, it's just like I feel like a good way to try different rotations too, because sometimes depending on what team we're playing, I might be able to sub in some more players. And just good opportunities to just see what they can do. It's a lot of playing in 3 days. But it's a lot of good playing and we get to see a lot of good stuff and see their stamina early on. And then hopefully make it into one of the upper brackets and play some of those larger schools too, that we maybe could see down the road. We have Onalaska and Sparta there, so 2 MVC teams.
Right.
We ended up facing them last year once we made it to the gold bracket too. So could see Sparta early on when we're not supposed to. So that'll be fun to at least watch them and see what they're bringing.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be the tournament is something that I wanted to do even last year, couldn't do that. Thankfully, this year, then I do have somebody to my lovely wife is watching the kids, so I can go to this tournament this year. So I know that Nami and I are going to be there. We're going to set up, and then we'll do football that Thursday as well. So we have a busy schedule. I know for your schedule, I don't have it in front of me yet, but I believe that we are covering pretty much all of your regular season matches as long as the MVC schools let us come in. Even the road ones, I'm going to do a couple of them by myself, so that way we can get some boys soccer on too. So really, we're trying to expand as much as possible this year, do more as far as the soccer goes, but also keeping my eye on the volleyball team as well as football. So Coach Williams, looking forward to working with you throughout the entire season. Thank you so much for our interview tonight. Looking forward to seeing you next Tuesday on the hardwood for our first Central Riverhawk volleyball match of the 2024 season.
Yes, we're looking forward to it, Joel. And as always, thank you to you and Nami for all the work you put in. And it's really exciting to hear how much you'll be at, and just thank you again.
Yeah, you bet. Well, again, we do want to reiterate about football on Thursday. That we will not be covering at Wanakee. However, next week for the home game against Ellsworth, despite whatever's going on with the volleyball team, we'll finish it up and we'll make sure that we're covering football as well. So our first broadcast for play-by-play is coming up on Tuesday when the Riverhawks face off against Onalaska on the hardwood for volleyball. Again, thank you to Coach Williams. I'm Joel McCall. Thank you so much for tuning in here on the Central Riverhawks YouTube channel.